Ladies and gentlemen, they are trying to place a ban on genetically modified babies. There's always something sinister about playing around with nature, taking something natural and doing very unnatural things with it. So, a congressional committee voted Tuesday to continue a federal ban on creating genetically modified babies in the United States. The House Appropriation Committee voted to refrain from the ban after the prohibition had been lifted last month by a subcommittee. The vote was part of debate over routine funding legislation for the Food and Drug Administration. This is a prohibition that is accepted by nearly every nation in the world due to the unknown risk. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Jeff Fortenberry, during a hearing where the ban was restored, the risk of harm are real. The ban prohibits the FDA from considering any proposals to try to use genetically modified embryos to try to establish pregnancies. Some scientists oppose the ban because it bars them from conducting the studies necessary to determine whether it might one day be safe. I don't know. How is that safe? I'm serious. I don't believe it can ever be safe and effective to create genetically modified babies. The goal would be to prevent devastating genetic diseases. So it's that genetically modified babies and what they call gene editing, which I don't believe genes need to be edited at all. During the hearing, several Democratic committee members said they were reluctant. They were reluctantly agreeing to reinstate the ban, but hoped the issue would be reconsidered at some point. I recognize the controversy surrounding the ethical and moral issues of genetically modifying human embryos, said House Rep. Sanford Bishop. I don't know. I don't. How do you reconsider that, y'all? It's like, is there anything on this earth that they don't tamper with? I'm serious. I'm asking a serious question. Is there anything on this planet that they don't try to tamper with? I think this is ridiculous. I really do. And I don't see anything good coming from this. I don't. Um, there is certainly a case to be made for advancing life saving research, but there's also a case to be made for the possible misuse of this procedure, and a robust discussion is absolutely needed. That was what I was trying to achieve. I believe there is a therapy that is prohibited by this language that could possibly address some devastating and terrible diseases of children, he added. But some continue to oppose the ban. This is not 2001, Space Odyssey, or 1984, or a mad scientist playing games with genetic material, said Rep. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, whose family carry genetic mutations that increase the risk for breast cancer. There are real opportunities to try to cut off the passing on of genetic mutations that can have dramatic life altering implications. I don't know, do they even know enough about the science to be doing it on humans? I don't know. I'm I have a lot of misgivings about it. The Chinese scientists' actions were widely condemned as unethical and irresponsible. So apparently, last fall, China created their first genetically modified babies, which were twin girls. This past fall, huh? Yeah, well, they condemned it, but China pretty much do whatever they want. And that's one thing. America cannot control the Chinese. They do whatever the hell they want. So I'm not surprised. You know, I'm sure they'll keep a close watch on those twin girls to see what will happen. In fact, a study released Monday indicated that the genetic change the Chinese scientists tried to edit into the DNA of the twin girls to protect them from the AIDS virus could actually shorten their lifespans. Still some scientists and okay, let me just go down a little. We are disappointed, said Sean Tippin, Chief Advocacy, Policy and Development Officer for the American Society of Reproductive Medicine. To be clear, nobody's going to go to work producing gene edited babies if Congress lifts this ban. What they would be allowed to do is submit a carefully designed and evaluated research protocol. At least two groups of scientists in the United States would like to study the procedure that originally prompted the ban. That procedure, known as mitochondrial replacement therapy, involves creating embryos with the DNA of three different people, leading to what are known as three-parent babies. That is weird. You know how unnatural that is? That is weird. A three-parent baby? I'm sorry, that's weird. That procedure, which is being offered in other countries, is highly controversial. But many U.S. scientists says it should be studied to see whether it might safely prevent a range of mitochondrial diseases with genetic causes, such as such research is underway in Britain. I think they mean for themselves. I think they mean for themselves. Others fear the research could lead to the creation of gene edited babies for many reasons that include the creation of designer babies in which parents pick and choose the traits of their children. There is no compelling medicine argument for inheritable genome editing and no need to subject our children to the risk it would entail because we already have ways to prevent transmission of inheritable diseases. Okay, well, I find it weird. I really do. Let's go ahead and listen to this audio. I think it's weird.
Today, a congressional committee voted to continue a federal ban on the creation of gene-edited babies in the United States. This comes amid an intense debate about whether the ban is blocking valuable medical research. And NPR health correspondent Rob Stein is in the studio now to explain. Hi, Rob.
Hey there, Ari.
First, explain what this ban is.
Yes, Ari, about 4 years ago, Congress quietly imposed a ban that prohibits the Food and Drug Administration from considering any proposals that involve using genetically modified human embryos to try to make babies. This is what prevents scientists in the United States from doing what that Chinese scientist did, making the world's first gene-edited babies.
Mm-hmm. And why did this come up today?
So, most scientists condemn what that Chinese scientist did, but some are unhappy with this ban. And the reason is they say it's stifling what could be really important medical research. Gene editing techniques like CRISPR could someday be shown to be a safe way to prevent lots of genetic disorders. And there's another kind of genetic modification of human embryos that some scientists in the United States would like to pursue right away. And that involves creating embryos with DNA from 3 different people, these so-called 3-parent babies.
Right, which are also very controversial.
Yeah, they are. And the reason is that also involves making changes in DNA that can be passed down for generations. So it raises that prospect of designer babies. But many scientists think researchers should be allowed to pursue it as part of carefully designed studies just to see if it's safe, because it could prevent devastating genetic disorders known as mitochondrial disorders. And the British government is allowing that sort of thing right now.
So if that's the background of the debate, take us to what's actually happening in Congress.
Yeah, so what happened is last month, a subcommittee of the House of Representatives dropped the ban from a routine spending bill, and today that legislation came up for full debate on the Hill, and it was a pretty emotional debate. Here's Nita Lowey, a Democrat from New York.
We have a moral obligation to allow advances in science so fewer parents will have to watch a child die.
But the ban ended up being reinstated after Lowey and others, acquiesced to the arguments of Republicans like Jeff Fortenberry of Nebraska.
The risks of harm are real.
This was just the committee. What happens now? Does it go to the full House?
Yeah, so the advocates for dropping the ban say they are going to continue to push for that, and they hope it does get pulled when the legislation finally hits the floor. But, the chances are probably pretty slim for them succeeding at this point.
That's NPR's Rob Stein following the debate over gene-edited babies. Thanks for your reporting, Rob.
You bet, Corey.
Sound like Franken babies to me. Frankenstein babies. Franken babies. Please tell me what you think. I don't know. I just think this is weird. I don't think there's anything wrong with babies the way that they are now. That's just my opinion. The Most High did not mess up when He allowed us to make babies with one man and one woman, the way it should be. But all this lab baby, designer baby stuff, I don't know, y'all. But please tell me what you think in the comment section. But, it doesn't matter what we feel or say. These folks will do whatever they want. They'll do all this unnatural stuff, and I wouldn't even be surprised if the baby have a lot of problems physically, genetic problems, and like they said with the Chinese baby, a short life expectancy. So, what's the point? Wow. Talk about playing God. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.